With the first 30 picks of the 2025 NFL Draft now set, I think it's time for yet another mock draft. This time we have a couple of trades, so make sure to stick around till the end so you don't miss a bit. And so with the first overall pick, the Tennessee Titans select Travis Hunter. They said they wouldn't pass on a generational talent, so picking Hunter here makes a lot of sense. They could use him either as a corner or wideout, so they even have some security with this pick here. Moving on, the Browns get Shedeur Sanders. With Watson's new injury, they could very well look into adding a young QB to the roster. Sanders would be a day one starter, and I think he would most certainly keep the starting job over Watson in the long run. At number 3, the Giants select Cam Ward. Some people regard him as the best quarterback of the draft, so him falling to number 3 would be huge. The Giants could potentially have a franchise QB under center for the first time in ages, so this is a dream scenario. With the fourth pick, New England gets Abdul Carter. I think he's the best defender in this class and could make a case as the best player overall. Carter would be a star right away in New England, and although defensive end isn't a huge need, passing on the Penn State guy would most definitely be a mistake. Up next, the Jaguars select Mason Graham. He's the best defender available, and finding top tier defensive tackles is usually hard. Jacksonville would use him from day one, and he would be a solid piece in a defense desperate to improve. At number 6, the Raiders acquire Will Johnson. Him falling to number 6 would be a dream scenario for Las Vegas. They need a corner, and Johnson is by far the number 1 prospect of this class and has the potential to be a superstar since day 1. With the 7th pick, the Jets get Michael Williams. They could very well use a defensive end, and the prospect out of Georgia is a great fit. Williams is potentially out of this world, and if developed correctly, he could turn out to be an absolute monster in the NFL. And now we have the very first trade of the day. Miami sent some solid day 2 compensation in order to move up 5 spots and select Tyrone McMillan. McMillan would make an amazing duet with Jalen Waddle, so I would love this for the Dolphins if it happened. Up next, the Saints get Nick Corton. This is the best defensive end available, so I think the Saints will take him. The prospect out of Texas A&M would be a fine addition to this defensive line, which has the potential to take a big step in the 2025 season. With the 10th overall pick, the Bears select Tyler Booker. Helping Caleb Williams is their number 1 priority for the Bears this offseason. Offensively, this is a solid roster, but they can use some help in the interior part of the offensive line, and that's where Booker comes into play. At number 11, San Francisco picks Kelvin Banks. I would honestly love this pick for the Niners if I'm being honest. The scheme fit just makes a lot of sense, and Banks is the best tackle of the class, which means that passing on him would not be wise by the 49ers. Moving on, the Cowboys get Ashton Jeanty. Dallas has been linked with this guy ever since he started going off for Boise State. The Cowboys had a terrible rushing attack last season, so it makes a lot of sense to go get Jeanty to try and light a spark in that area of the offense. Now with pick number 13, the Panthers get Malaki Starks. Trading back and still getting the guy you wanted would be a dream come true for Carolina. Starks would be a day 1 starter for the Panthers and would potentially become the best defender in the team sooner rather than later. Moving on, the Colts select Tyler Warren. It's no secret that Indianapolis would love to have him, even though it will be hard for him to fall this far. But well, in this scenario, he is right there, so of course I have the Colts picking him to be their starting tight end from 2025 onwards. With pick number 15, the Falcons get Shavon Revel. Atlanta needs to improve on the defensive side of the ball, especially at cornerback. Revel would provide explosiveness and quickness to an otherwise average defense, so I love this pick for the Falcons. Up next, the Cardinals select James Pierce Jr. This team will probably try to improve its situation over in the edge, and well, that's where this guy comes in. Pierce is a great scheme fit and is more than capable of being a long-lasting starter for this Cardinals team. At number 17, the Bengals get Will Campbell. They need to improve the defense, but I hate the idea of passing on Campbell here. They would be potentially locking in who could end up being the best tackle of this class, so this pick does make quite some sense. And here at 18, we have another trade. Seattle moves back a couple of spots, which gives Pittsburgh the chance to draft Luther Burden. The Steelers need a wide receiver, especially if they want to give their quarterback a first shot at succeeding. Burden is easily top 3 in this class, and I think his playstyle aligns quite a lot with what Pittsburgh would like to do offensively in the near future. At number 19, Tampa Bay selects Jahdae Barron. This team has a great offense, but the defense most definitely needs some work. Barron is arguably the most versatile player of the entire class, so getting him here would be a huge win for the Buccaneers. To cap up the top 20, the Broncos then get Colston Loveland. He's not only a great scheme fit, but would also provide another dimension to this offense. I think Bo Nix would love to have a good tight end on this team, so I have the Broncos fulfilling that dream and getting him Loveland. Up next, the Seahawks draft Josh Simmons. It may not be the flashiest pick of the draft, but it's a solid one that makes sense. They traded back and got some extra draft capital. Now it's time to get a good offensive tackle to use as a foundation to further improve the offense. With the 22nd pick, the Chargers select Emeka Egbuka. Ladd McConkey was amazing during his rookie season, but it's hard to keep up the pace without anyone to help him. Egbuka would be an amazing number 2 wideout for LA, and his presence alone would massively open up the field for Herbert. Moving on, Green Bay gets Benjamin Morrison. This is a match made in heaven. I'm just completely in love with the scheme fit. I think Morrison could become a superstar for the Packers, so I don't see any reason why they wouldn't take him here if available. With the 24th overall pick, Minnesota selects Nick Emmanwori. The Vikings defense crumbled in the end of the year, but there's still a lot of potential. The prospect out of South Carolina would be like a breath of fresh air that could revive this squad to go back to their top tier defensive playmaking. Now at number 25, the Texans acquire Cameron Williams. I think I'll mock an offensive lineman going to Houston in every single mock draft I do. This Texans line is horrid, and if they want CJ Stroud to succeed, they must draft someone to protect him. Up next, the Rams pick Josh Conerly. There have been some rumors linking this too, so I'll give in for this video. Conerly is a high upside prospect, but I do think that taking him round 1 could end up being a risky decision. At number 27, the Ravens draft Trey Harris. They need to get a wide receiver here just to help Lamar have some more options. The rushing attack is amazing, but having only Zay Flowers at wide receiver could potentially be harmful for this team in the long run. With pick number 28, the Lions then select Jalen Walker. This is the perfect scheme fit, and he would be perfectly used all across the defense. Walker could rush the QB and play off-ball linebacker on a regular basis, providing versatility to an already great defense. Moving on, Washington gets Mike Green. They have shown some interest in him, and I honestly understand why. Green is not the flashiest defensive end in the world, but he gets the job done and is overall a very clean and consistent player. At number 30, the Bills select Talik Williams. I think Buffalo is going defense here, and getting a starting D tackle in round 1 is always a steal. Williams could be a day 1 starter for Buffalo, and I firmly believe that this scheme fit is quite good all things considered. Up next, the Eagles pick Shemar Stewart. If he somehow falls to number 31, Philly is picking him up immediately. Stewart would be an amazing addition to a great Eagles defense, so I think this would be a no-brainer for them in this situation. At number 32, the Chiefs select Derek Harmon. Kansas City had some issues with their interior defensive line whenever Chris Jones was not on the field. So to counter that, here's a replacement for him when he is gone. And with that, our second mock draft of 2025 is over. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe to see more content like this in the future.